So when people say that marijuana is a gateway drug, they're wrong. Marijuana was an exit drug for me. It helped me exit Big Pharma.
And what was the majority of your time you said was basically the pen, right?
Pen 1, yeah. Pen 1, yeah.
So what's that like? Like, what's a day at the pen? Like, not a lockdown day, but like a kind of
a regular normal day is, it pretty much runs itself, but you have to be aware because at any minute you're going to hear the tones. The body alarm is going to go off, and you're going to have to respond, lock your unit down, and do things like that. It can go from mundane to complete sheer terror. I mean, like 2 guys are stabbing each other.
Right.
I mean, it can go from that to a big fight in a unit. 10 guys are rumbling, locking a sock, all that shit going down. And, and it's one of those things like, it's something different every day. And you have this, I don't know, you have this heightened sense of, at any moment something can happen. So it's kind of like, I don't know, it was a little exciting for me. I like that.
Well, it's funny that you say lock in a sock. Like, that sounds benign. But
no, that'll fuck you up, a lock in a sock. Oh, God, yeah.
So one of the, probably the most blood I think I've ever seen was a guy get hit in the back of the head. Yeah. The guy, I don't know if it was a belt or a sock, just ran up behind him and hit him in the head
on the phone, a guy,
3 or 4 times.
One time. Right when he was on the phone, I remember he came out of his cell like Indiana Jones with the whip, and he was like this, and I'm just watching him, and he went like this. And the guy was on the phone, and by the time he looked, here it just, his eye socket gone, everything gone. I mean, right there. And he was just, pouring blood. He was out like a light. The guy just put it in his pocket, walked in the cell, and just started packing his shit because he knew he was getting locked up. And that was it. I locked everybody down. I came to his cell. He's like, I'm ready. It was just like that.
Jesus.
So I worked there, and I never had a problem, Matt, because I gave people respect. I always treated people how I'd like to be treated. I never abused anybody. I don't, I would bump into, even now on my YouTube channel, I have, guys that, that were inmates and it worked in my, that were in the units with me and stuff that, send me, comments on my YouTube page, a channel, and like, like everything this guy says is legit, because I tell prison stories and things like that on my YouTube channel.
Where are you from? I mean, where are you running your channel?
At my house.
No, I mean, I'm saying it's Tampa, Orlando. Oh,
Orlando.
Okay,
Yeah. I don't have a nice big, fancy studio like you, with pictures of President Trump. By the way, 2024, when he's president again, put that painting in with your pardon application. Because I think he'll sign it. He'll see that and he'll say, Matthew Cox, let's clear his record.
I have a bunch of these.
Send him one with your pardon application.
I'll give you one if you want it.
I like it, man.
Yeah.
I would appreciate that. That would be awesome.
I have them in the garage.
I like
you didn't go in the garage. I'll take you. I'll take you in the garage and show you where I
didn't see it, but I love. I'm looking at him, and you're very talented, Matt. You're very talented, buddy. I like that.
Appreciate it.
Definitely. So I was there, and I was working there. I worked there for 7 years. Loved the job. Was doing great. And all of a sudden, things were going on in my life. I was going through a rough divorce. I was down in the dumps, and I was drinking a lot and doing things like that, because financially I was paying lawyers all the time, and my house was gone, and I had to sell everything and all this stuff like this. And, I remember there was a big staph outbreak in the prison, staph infection.
Yeah.
We would always have. They had a Legionnaires outbreak. Legionnaires I thought was cured in the 70s, but they had a Legionnaires disease outbreak at the female camp. They would always have, whether it was lice or crabs or friggin' whatever it was, and they had a bad staph outbreak in Pen 1, staph infection. And I remember a couple weeks after that, maybe 2 weeks or so after that, I developed an eye infection really bad. And it started in one eye, and my eye swelled up, and it was like very sore. It was like someone just like beat me up and punched me, but it was just like, the pressure on it. And it was, next thing you know, it started to bleed a little bit out of my tear duct. So I'm one of those guys that last minute doesn't go to the doctor. It's always like, I'll be fine. I still worked, everything, I would use. And then all of a sudden I said, okay, maybe I got pink eye. Let me go in and get checked. So I go to one of these clinics, and They tell me it's pink eye. Oh, at this time it spread to the other eye too. It went over finally. And they gave me medication for pink eye. I put it in my eyes. I did it for a couple of days. It got worse. Finally, I woke up one morning and my eyes were just dried blood shut. I had to go in the sink and just throw, and it was like The Exorcist, man. So I went back to the doctor. I went to the VA and with an optometrist, and he said, "No, that's not pink eye. You have a staph infection in your eye, and it needs to be treated because it can go in your body and hurt you and kill you.
Yeah.
So he gives me antibiotics and medicine and says it'll clear up in a couple days. And I took the medicine. A couple days, it went away. And it was fine, and I was, everything was fine. My vision wasn't affected. It went away. It just went away. About 2 or 3 weeks later, after it went away, I started developing serious back pains. And I have a bad back anyway from being in the military all those years and backpacking, carrying a rucksack or lifting up my sea bag or, going up and down ladder wells and ships and going up and down the tiers and all that shit. And, but this was a different kind. It felt like someone had a knife in me and they were just twisting it, right in this one particular spot. So, of course, I'm laying flat. I'm taking hot, cold, hot, putting ice packs on it, doing all kinds of things. I got to get my back checked. This is hurting me. So I go in and
you didn't think it was related?
No, didn't put 2 and 2 together and make 4, man. And I went and I got an X-ray. I went into the emergency room. I got an X-ray, and they said, "Well, your back is damaged, but I don't see anything, really bad." And they said, "But other than that, I don't see, anything in that area."
What do you mean damage?
Well, I had degenerative disc disease,
which
and
is
things.
unrelated.
Unrelated,
okay.
yeah. It was just I had a lot of damage on my back, from that. So. They told me, here's some muscle relaxers, take these, blah, 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 right? Okay. So I'm taking muscle relaxers and my back is still hurting, but since I'm taking the muscle relaxers, it's masking it.
Yeah.
And next thing I know, about a week later, I come home from work. I was working morning watch. I get off at 8 a.m., 12 midnight to 8 a.m. I drive home. I lay down in my bed and I woke up a couple hours later and I urinated myself and I couldn't move my legs. They were just jello. They were done. So my girlfriend at the time, she called 911. They had me out of there in an ambulance. They took me to the emergency room. And I was in the emergency room. I had to pee so bad, but I couldn't urinate. My bladder was I couldn't urinate. So they had to catheter me.
Right.
And I don't know if you've ever had that.
No.
Okay. Well,
yeah, I've been lucky.
It's not good. And I'm totally anticipating this painful, thing, and they hit me with it, and I'm like, and I'm like, and next thing you know, I feel great because it's all, all that stuff is getting relieved, and the doctor's like, he's like, I don't know what's going on with you, because of course they think, I don't know, maybe they think because I'm a government employee, I'm trying to fake it to go out on a disability or some shit like that. I don't know, but there was a military doctor there that was a Naval Reserve doctor, and he saw my Iraq bracelet on. And he came in the emergency room and started talking to me, and I told him what was going on. And he said, send this guy for an MRI. I think he did an MRI. He sent me for an MRI. As soon as I get back from the MRI, 15 minutes later, he comes running in, and he's like, I got to get you on a helicopter and get you out of here. You have an abscess on your spine. And I'm like, an abscess? What, whatever. And I'm like, he's like, I got to get you to emergency room. I just got off the phone with a surgeon, a spinal surgeon. They're waiting for you. And I was like, oh, shit, because I'm so freaking oblivious that I'm thinking I'm having a bad reaction to the muscle relaxers. And they'll probably give me a shot. And this will all come back, no problem, right? Next thing I know, they wheel me out. They send me to the emergency room. Doctors are waiting for me. And this one doctor, I remember, he looked like Richard Dreyfuss on Jaws. Remember Richard Dreyfuss when he played in Jaws? Okay, he had a little bit of a beard, and he had that, and he said to me, Mr. Farlow, you have an abscess on your spine, and it's caused you to get paraplegia, and you will never walk again. And
this is before the surgery?
Right as they're the anesthesiologist is here asking me how much I weigh. He's here telling me. The paramedics are behind me, pushing me. And he said, Right now, I'm concerned about saving you from the neck, from the waist up. The waist down's gone. I'm like, Jesus Christ, this guy's telling me, he's like, you're never going to walk again. I remember him saying that, and he kept doing this in your head. It's never, you're never going to be able to walk again. He kept doing this. And I'm looking at him, and the lady asked me how much I weigh, and I said, give me enough to kill an elephant. And I told her that, the anesthesiologist, because I said, that's it, I don't want to live. You're telling me I'm never going to walk again? What the,
Right.
And they put me to sleep. I woke up the next day. It was my birthday. I was wrapped up like a mummy. I had a tube in my throat, a tube down there, a tube in my rear, and they were all looking at me when I came out of it. And they the doctor was talking to me, and he was telling me the same thing. You had an abscess. I had to cut your back open. You had staph infection that penetrated into your spinal cord at your T6 level, thoracic 6. And from that abscess pushing into your spinal cord, the infection, the pus, contaminated your spinal cord.
Yeah.
And it caused you to have paraplegia from the waist down. And I'm like, wow, I don't want to live no more.
At this point, can you feel your feet or anything?
Nothing. Everything's gone. It's all gone. I can't move. I can't feel. It's like Jell-O. I feel everything from the waist up. They cut me right here. I was split down the spine like a Thanksgiving turkey. I'm cut right down, and because they had to open me up wide, and they had to clean all that infection out. They even had to remove 2 little bones that were there that were so infected that they were just brittle, that they didn't want them to break off, that they removed them. And they don't know very much about, they even like the best doctors in the world, I found this out after, but they only know a limited amount with your spine and your brain, how they communicate. They know how they know how like this releases this and all that, but they don't know how it works yet. They're still like, scratching the surface of that stuff. And now they're doing implants with chips and all that other stuff and stem cells. But I woke up the next day. They told me the news again. I thought it was a dream. It was my birthday. I'm paralyzed for the waist down. And that's when that's when, the nightmare all hit me. Now, in between this time, I left this out. It's very distasteful for me to talk about. But while I was going through this divorce, my brother was a heroin addict. And he had gotten sober, but then he fell off the wagon, and he was living in Fort Lauderdale with my mother, and he was starting to steal things from her. So I said, bring him up here. I have this big house, and I'm going to get him health insurance, I got him health insurance. I'm going to pay for it, and I'm going to get him into a rehab. And while I did it and I brought him up there, he ended up committing suicide in my house, and he died in my arms. So this was all going on. My wife left me after that, and this had all spun, and then the staph infection, and now I'm paralyzed.
So this was a really shitty time.
This was you can't get any lower than this,
right.
And then my cat died, who was like my best cat, because I'm an animal lover. I had a cat. He was with me for 15 years, and he was like my best buddy, and he died, and it was all right after 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So it was a very bad time, and I just woke up and I said, I don't want to live no more. I want to die. And I was trying to ask people to bring a gun in so I could blow my brains out in the hospital, and they were trying to get me, they were, I was in the hospital for 3 months because my infection. What they have to do is they put me in an infectious disease ward with other people that were like compromised, because when you have a massive infection like that, your immune system's low.
Yeah.
So they have to put you in an isolation area, and they had to run IV antibiotics in my arm every day, 2 different bags, 2 different antibiotics, and they do it for 45 days straight. So it's like a full spectrum.
To try and kill
whatever it is. They treat you for every virus every infection known to man, and they give you the antibiotics for it. And it's like a 45-day, only intravenous, 2 bags a day, 2 different drugs. So I was going through that. And this is before COVID, all right? So that we're talking November 2019, I was paralyzed on my birthday. So I'm in the hospital November, December, January, February. Finally, they released me. And I end up going, they told me I would need assisted living forever, that I would need care, 24-hour care. A catheter. I wasn't able to pee on my own. I was wearing diapers. It's really a humbling experience when you're shitting yourself again like a baby and you're wearing diapers.
Right.
And you're watching TV and then all of a sudden you're like, oh Jesus, I got to get changed. You know what I mean? It's very humbling. And I they were giving me a whole bunch of pain pills. They were giving me whatever prescriptions I wanted, Oxycontin, whatever the fuck I wanted, man, I got whatever I wanted,
Right.
And while I was, I would try to get people to smuggle me alcohol. It was like I was like in the prison. I was like paying off the CNAs, like the nurses' assistants.
Right.
Here's $20. Bring me back a little bottle of vodka when you go out. Like I was getting people to bring me contraband in, right? When I was in that thing, because I couldn't move myself,
Yeah.
And so I was working my, using my prison smarts to get things into me, even food, because they have you on this bland diet and whatever.
Yeah.
Pick me up a cheeseburger at, Checkers or something and bring it in. I would do things like that because I didn't give a fuck. I was going to die anyway. I knew as soon as I can get out of this, I can get around somewhere where I can get something, maybe some pills or whatever, and I'm going to just take them all and just, go to sleep forever.
No, I can understand.
Yeah. And so I'm taking all these pain pills and they had me on a morphine pump and, and next thing I know, I end up getting discharged and I had a caregiver. She was an angel. She's an angel. I had physical therapists that were angels too that came into my life and saved me. And I remember when I got home and I had a friend, I wouldn't let anybody see me, not even my mother. I refused visits. I just didn't want anyone to, I didn't want people to feel sorry for me. Because I was a big guy. I worked out, I'm, this and that. I was in good shape. I'm a jiu-jitsu black belt. I'm an instructor. I've done this for 25 years. I've been doing this. The military, I was always known for my physical prowess, for my athleticism and stuff. And that was gone. That was gone. Not being able to work out, not being able to do jiu-jitsu, not being able to have sex. It's all gone. All taken from you. And I had no will to live. And I had a buddy, and he came to see me. And he said, I'm coming to your apartment and I'm not taking no for a fucking answer. You're going to let me in.
All right.
So he came to see me and I'm laying there and he hands me a joint. And I said, what the fuck is that? I'm like, I don't want that, because I'm anti-drug. I'm the cop that, a drug dog handler.
Yeah.
I'm the guy, I'm anti that. I'm like, those are drugs. Get those the fuck out of here.
Right.
But I have a whole stack of pain medication right here.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Exactly, but in my mind, this is from a doctor, Matthew. It's not a drug.
Do you have a prescription?
Yes, it's not a drug. That's a street drug. This is cannabis.
Right.
By the way, this is cannabis. So he hands it to me, and then I said to myself, well, fuck it. I might as well just go out as a drug addict too, because the pain pills. So I lit up that joint, and I smoked it, and completely saved my life. It elevated my mood. It brought my mind temporarily away from what I was in. It helped me with my pain. It helped me with my motivation. And it completely just elevated my mood. And I said to myself, well, I don't need all this shit. I got this. This is better, So when people say that marijuana is a gateway drug, they're wrong. Marijuana was an exit drug for me. It helped me exit Big Pharma. And the first drug you usually try is what?
Marijuana? Alcohol?
No, alcohol. That's a gateway drug. Alcohol, tobacco, then usually marijuana. So I started researching, reading all these books like Marijuana Manifesto from Jesse Ventura and the history of marijuana and how it was made illegal and how it was based on, basically it had a racial component to it. The war on drugs by President Nixon. He wanted to lock up the hippies and the blacks because they didn't vote for him. So he wanted to prosecute them for marijuana. So I started researching that hemp was the original cash crop of this country for the first 150 years. Okay, they used to actually pay people to grow hemp and stuff. Our first Constitution was written on hemp. The first Bible was written on hemp. Hemp is as American as apple pie, and it's been criminalized and demonized. And from that point, I remember I went to sleep and I had a vision, and I saw this.
Okay.
And from that point, the Stone Sailor was born. And I said, the Stone Sailor, I said, I'm going to be, the Stone Sailor. I'm going to push for cannabis, reform, because especially me with PTSD from being a veteran and things, how I don't need all this other bullshit medication that they want to keep me on that numbs me down, where I don't feel anything. I don't feel bad. I don't feel good. I don't feel. Okay. This allows me to feel. From there, I was going on about a year, still no movement in my legs, nothing, The cannabis motivated me to start working out. And the pain pills made me groggy. I couldn't do anything. The cannabis elevated my mood. Okay, I'll do physical therapy today. So they would come in and they would stretch my legs and massage them, and I would start working out my upper body. Like I had a little thing here, like a pull-up by my bed, and I would start pulling up my upper body and get my upper body strong. And then I had to learn how to transfer, like go from the bed to a board to the wheelchair, from the wheelchair to the toilet, from the toilet to the shower. I had a bench in my shower. And then from the shower to the wheelchair to the car, getting in the car. I'm learning this all on my own, and I remember watching it like on YouTube, and I would start doing it and like learning tricks and doing this. And then when I would go to physical therapy, I remember going in and I said, guys, they were teaching me the same thing.
Right.
And I said, guys, I want you to teach me how to live my life without this chair. Don't teach me how to live my life with this chair, because I don't need you for that. I already watched YouTube and I know how to do all that. So if you can't teach me that, then I don't need you.
Hey, I hope you're enjoying the video. If you're interested in getting a painting done by me, my contact information is in the description box. Enjoy the video.
So from that point, they agreed they'll do it my way, and I started researching, and I was once again using cannabis. I started learning about the strands, the sativa, the indica. One is elevates your mood, gives you energy. A sativa, an indica puts you to sleep. That's a daytime, that's a nighttime. The hybrids, the RSOs, the cannabinoids, the receptors. I researched everything, and it's all science, and it's all proven. There's no need for any more studies. They've been studying it for 75 years, and the government's just been lying. Right. And finally the states are starting to take the lead. We got 36 states, I believe, 37 have some form of legal cannabis.
Right.
But what I remembered is George Mortorano, who was at the Medium, who got a life sentence for cannabis.
Yeah.
And he was in my mind a lot, and he's from Philly. And I used to talk to him all the time because he's from the same neighborhood I was from. And his father was a legendary guy there, a mobster, you know. And he has a nephew that owns a restaurant, and the really successful man, Steve Mortorano, a very successful man with a great restaurant. And he has one in Fort Lauderdale, Cafe Mortorano's, but that's his nephew. And I remember thinking, Jesus Christ, they gave that guy a life sentence for weed. There was other guys in there for 10, 15 years for cultivation of cannabis and all this. And I said, these people don't belong in fucking prison. This drug everybody should be allowed to grow this, like my own medicine cabinet. I should be able to, just like you can get an aspirin, I should be able to go into my little yard and pull some buds off, grind them up, and, make a joint or smoke it. And, going back, now all of a sudden, after, from that point, I started learning about aquatics, like putting paralyzed people in the water to help, because it's zero gravity and it helps, less stress on your body, zero gravity, less pain. And I started going to the pool in my neighborhood, and they would start seeing me, and I would wheel up there, and people would cheer me. It was like I was Rocky. And I would go to the pool, and I would just throw myself in like a fucking thing like this, and then I would swim my upper body, my lower body's just dangling, and I would get to the little end, and I would hold the end, and I would try to do squats, and I would try to make myself walk, and I would try to, I started filming all this stuff. And then out of nowhere, one morning, I was, my big toe on my left foot started moving. And at first I thought it was because I spasm. I get like chicken legs. I have to take and one medicine I do have to take is a anti-spasm medication, because my legs will spasm sometimes because I have nerve damage, permanent nerve damage. And I didn't know if that was me or if it was a spasm. And then I looked down and I realized it's me. I'm doing this. And it was just that little toe, that big toe on my left foot. When that started moving, it was like such a victory for me because I finally had some fucking hope that I might be able to regain some of my body again, you know? And I remember it was just so emotional. I was just crying when it happened, and it motivated me because I was, 10, 11 months with nothing. And my mother would call me every day and go, did anything move yet? Did anything move, And everyone was, and I was just, and finally, and I got tired. I got sick and tired of people asking me that question every fucking day because it was like a disappointment, you know what I mean? Because I had to say nothing. And next thing I know, a couple weeks later, Matt, my calf started moving, my butt cheeks, like everything started unlocking, but in different ways. My toe, and then this toe worked, and then my calf muscle started twitching, and then my gluteus maximus started twitching, and then things like that. Next thing you know, now I'm able to move my legs a little bit, and the doctors are amazed. They can't believe it. And
is this 10 months after you got out of the hospital?
A year after.
Oh, a year after.
Yeah, I was completely no movements for about 10 months.
Okay.
I was wheelchair bound. I was in a diaper. You can't control. You got a little bug on your chin. Oh, there he is. That son of a bug.
I thought I noticed something.
That's my OCD. I wanted to do that, but I didn't do it. So, but then the next thing I know, things are unlocking, and now I'm like, okay, I'm gonna stand. I think I could stand for the first time, and I tried it about 12 months to the day. I went and I got in a wheelchair and I stood for the first time. I got out of the chair and I stood, and my legs went like this, and I pissed my pants and everything because my body was just like that, and it was an amazing moment because they said I would never be able to do that. And out of nowhere, then my bladder control came back, and I remember talking to the urologist, and he was like, I was like, he goes, do you feel your bladder? I said, yeah, I could feel it better. Like I feel it, and I remember going, I'm gonna take the catheter out and see if I could do this on my own, like urinate. Right. And all of a sudden, I pulled the catheter out on my own, right out, and all of a sudden, next thing I know, I'm peeing on my own, and your bladder and the way
I would think the muscle
it's a muscle.
Yeah, was so relaxed by that point. It's not ready to. You have to retrain.
You have to work it. It's a muscle. The same thing with how they tell if you're paralyzed or not. It's pretty gross, but I'm going to tell you is your anal sphincter. They know you can't fake that. When a doctor puts his finger there, you clench. Yeah. Automatically. You can't stop it unless you're paralyzed. If you're paralyzed, you have no control of it. That's why you wear a diaper. Right. Right? Same kind of concept with your bladder. Right. It's a muscle. You got to build it to hold. And I just started, doing these exercises in my body, like contractions and things to like work them. I would contract, and work them. Huh. I guess women call them Kegel exercises.
I was going to say, women do it.
So exactly. So I started doing it, and then with that, all of a sudden, next thing you know, I could pee on my own, and I don't need a diaper anymore, and and I'm on a walker, and I start training again. I start hitting it real hard because I'm like, I got momentum going. I'm not going to let this thing stop. You know what I mean? I'm going to walk again, and it was just an amazing thing. They couldn't, the urologist couldn't believe it. He's like, you got your bladder back. When you get urine function back, he's like, that's a major, I didn't think it was that big of a deal, but he's like, you don't understand that muscle. You know what I mean? He said, you're getting that back, and it's a miracle,
Well, they have certain thresholds or certain things, like I remember when my mom stopped being able to, when she had a stroke and was in a wheelchair, they were like, she's going to go downhill fast. Like as soon as you start losing mobility, you start going down.
Absolutely.
Like, and there's certain things that doctors are like, okay, this just happened.
Yeah, bad sign.
Yeah.
So all those bad signs were now coming back.
But you're reversing.
I reversed it. It reversed, and
the reverse.
I don't know why. I when I was in rehab, there was a 24-year-old kid that was on his way home from a concert, got in a car wreck, neck down, paraplegic, quad. And I remember all the people that were like, we had this young kid, he was shot in the spine over a girl. He was paralyzed from the waist down. These are all in the rehab centers with me. And I remember going back to the rehab centers, and I'm now on a walker when I was with those guys in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
Now I'm on a walker.
Right.
So I started feeling guilty because I'm like, things are coming back for me, but they're not coming back for these guys, you know? And they're seeing me and the progress, and they're putting me in the pool. And
survivor guilt.
yeah, just like from when I got back from Iraq, and, you know, I had a real good buddy of mine get blown up and killed. So you have a survivor guilt.
Yeah.
And I just, I didn't understand why, you know, why I got this back, you know, like why me and not them, you know, I'm not no more deserving than they are.
Right.
You know, and I just said to myself, you know, I have to just keep moving forward, and I got to get back on my feet because I got to be an example to them, because if I could do it, then they could do it. So every step, you know, every little inch I would try to gain, maybe I'd be on the walker and then I would try to get a cane and do one step and then I'd fall. Hurt, you know, busted my ankle up real bad, had to get laid up again, came back again. Then I tried to go 2 steps and then 3 steps. And then, you know, with the cane, and I'm, you know, like this. And I just said to myself, I gotta, you know, I gotta show them that if I could do it, they could do it, you know, and I have to, you know, show them that you could beat this, you know, you could beat this. There's a lot of medical technology and things, but in the States, we're so restricted because of these stem cells and the fact that they won't allow other countries where they could do stem cell implants in your spine and things like that. I was even looking at going to South America. They have a big stem cell thing in Medellin, I think, Colombia, where they'll put stem cells in your injuries. A lot of people are going down there because there they don't have the restrictive laws because of the stem cells with the aborted babies and all this other stuff, the placenta. It's just all, you know, to me, it's all bullshit. If you can help living people, help them.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so I just, you know, it came back to me, and I just said to myself, you know, there's a reason why I got brought back. There's a reason I'm here. That obviously wasn't, you know, because I remember just completely, you know, having a you know, and I'm not like some super religious guy or anything like that. I'm very spiritual, and I know enough to know that I don't know what God looks like or what he wants and things like that. I know enough to know I don't know that. You know, but I do know enough to know that there is a higher power out there. Whether he looks like Jesus or he looks like whoever else, we don't know. It could be just an entity, a being, who knows? But I know there's a higher power out there, you know, because the way your body works and how everything complements each other, you can't deny that. You'd have to be a fool not to think that somebody of greater intelligence didn't create that, you know, because how your cells work and how I was learning how my nerves and my signals, if they meet a roadblock, your body will create an alternate route to get through. Your body does that. The doctors don't do it. Your body does it. So that design right there has got to come from someone that's intelligent, you know, super intelligent, higher intelligence. So, and even the best doctors don't even understand our brain and our spine. So I just know that when you get up in the morning, before you know, when you stand up to go to the toilet to pee, it takes 100 miracles to happen.
Yeah.
From your brain to your spine. It takes 100 miracles to happen. And I'll never take those miracles for granted again. Ever.
Hey, sorry for interrupting the video, but want to let you guys know that if you join my Patreon at the top tier, every single month you get a different painting. And the contact information for my Patreon page is in the description. Back to the video.
So I know that. So, and I just, from that point, I started cutting videos and I started my own channel, and I found that people just really like hearing prison stories.
Well,
I don't know what, I mean, I've done a lot in my life, and of course they like, but the prison stories, they just love. They just, every time, with all the things I've done in my life, like people, I would get around, and it'd be crazy because I would get around like doctors, college professors, somebody who works in the business world, who works in, you know, corporate America, and I'll sit around at a table and we're eating, and everything is just directed at, tell me what it was like to work in the prison. I'm sure you get, you know.
Are you kidding me?
It's crazy.
I've said that exact scenario, what you just said.
Yeah.
I'm like, this guy's a doctor.
Yeah.
This guy is a CPA. This guy is even a police officer.
Yeah.
And it's like, you guys are asking me what about being in prison,
Yeah.
you know?
Mm-hmm. It's crazy.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It is.
You know,
It is.
so.
I have a quick question.
Shoot.
So how long once you started before you were actually walking on your own? Because you walked in here.
Yeah.
Like I didn't even. I did something.
No,
You have a cane.
Yeah, I use a cane because my legs shake sometimes. I get spasms.
Oh, I didn't even notice. See, I didn't
yeah.
notice that when you walked in.
Yeah,
I saw
yeah.
you holding the cane, but I didn't
Yeah,
see you using it really.
Yeah, I spasm sometimes, and I don't. Sometimes like it's weird because like my legs. Sometimes there's a delay, so if they get too tired, sometimes I'll just fold like. So I use the cane. You know, if I feel like my legs are buckling, I can hold on to it. You know what I mean? So,
but I mean, are you going to the gym? Are you doing like leg extensions?
Yeah,
I'm
doing everything. I'm you know, I can't run. I can't you know, I can't do cardio. I do it on a bike.
Yeah.
I pedal and I lift weights and I teach jujitsu.
Okay.
I'm you know, I teach kids jujitsu, young adults, defense and stuff. And I used to roll all the time, like, you know, compete and do things like that. I can't do that kind of stuff anymore.
Right.
But I still teach self-defense. I still go to class. I still do, you know,
So how long from the point when you actually said, okay, I'm in the pool, something's happening here, I can feel it, to where you were actually walking on your own?
Well, I would say 2.5 years.
Okay.
Yeah, a little over 2 years, you know.
Well, this thing happened.
19.
Yeah. Okay, so I was gonna say because you walked right in here.
Yeah, you're looking at it. This is you know, I mean, this is my you know, this I would say 6 months ago I was on a walker.
And you drove here?
I drove here.
Cool.
Yeah.
And there's no problems with you driving? You feel
No, I'm fine. I had to take a driving test. You don't know, but when you get disabled, they suspend your license. You know that?
No.
They hold it because you have to. I had to get a handicap parking sticker.
Right.
So when you go to do that, what they do is they tell the DMV this guy is handicapped. So now they bring you in and they make you do another driving test. Okay. So I had to come back in and do a driving test, and I passed the driving test in a wheelchair. I wheeled in when I took it. It's like I wheeled in, I opened it, I got in the thing, and I did it. I did the driving test, and I passed. Yeah, I cheated a little.
Why? What do you mean?
I cheated a little.
How's that?
Because it was during COVID, and they don't come in the car with you. They put a cell phone in there.
Oh my gosh.
So they only watch you from the waist up. They don't know what it is, but you know, I'm not divulging any. I'm not going to admit to anything else.
So,
but I passed.
How long have you had that? So you started a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
How long have you had the YouTube channel?
About a year. I the first show I went on was I was watching a lot of TV because it was COVID. I was paralyzed, so I started watching a lot of YouTube and a lot of stuff, and I came across John and Jean, their show, and I was watching it, and it seemed like he had a good vibe. John, he was pushing a lot of stuff, helping kids out and things like that, and I just commented. I said it was a good show, whatever. And he saw my name like the Stone Sailor, I guess, and looked at my Instagram.
Right. Who?
John A-Light.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. John A-Light. He was a a mob guy. He was he was.
Yeah, he was on.
I know. He was on your show. Yeah, and then.
But you said John and Jean. I didn't know there was a Jean. I didn't know.
It was John and Jean. They originally had a show. Gene Borello and John A-Light started a.
That was before he and Mike.
He and Mike, he and Mike, he and Mike, and they had a show, and I was just watching it one day, and they had a military veteran on, and they were talking to him, and next thing I know, I get in contact with John. I sent him a great show, and then I talked to him. He's he happens to live very close, not near me, but near a relative of mine, and he said, "You want to come on the show?" And I'm like, "I don't know if I want to do that," because I told him I was retired. I got medically retired from the job and all that too.
Right.
So I said, "I don't know. Let me think about it and whatever." And then I said, "You know what? If my story can help somebody," because I never shared like that my dad was in prison and things like that. Because when sometimes I from my experiences as a kid. Other kids ridiculed me for that. My dad was in the newspaper because he killed somebody. All the stuff, and people knew. And it was like, kids weren't allowed to play with me, weren't allowed to come to my house. I wasn't allowed to go to their house. I mean, it was just a whole big thing. And I never really shared a lot of that. So that was my first time telling my whole story, about how I grew up and things like that.
Right.
But I always took that with me. It made me a better corrections officer. That's for damn sure.
Well, I mean, going on people's channels also helps you with your channel.
Oh.
It'll help grow your subscribers. It helps get your story out there.
Yeah.
People tend to, they get invested in you, and then they want to help support you. They, and they're interested in, you interact with other people. It's a good way to.
More importantly, though, when I did his show, and it was the first time I ever talked about these things in my life, when we shut down and I closed the laptop, I had never walked out of a psychiatrist's office or a psychologist's office and felt as good as I did that day.
Cathartic.
I shut that.
Absolutely.
It was a purge.
Absolutely.
A complete purge. And I felt better than any psychiatrist. And I've been to a lot of them at the VA. And I never felt as good as I did. Like, I let a big load off because I just shared it. It's out there in the open. And now everyone knows.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so much better to just talk about stuff than to bottle it up.
Yeah,
Okay. So, anything else? What can you think of?
Well,
you've been great, bro, because you could tell your whole story. I don't have to say anything. I don't have to do anything. I just, So,
I have my YouTube channel, The Stone Sailor.
Yeah.
And
you have a cannabis line.
I have Yep, I have. Well, this is my swag line right here. This is all my shirts, and I have hoodies and things like that.
Right.
Shirts, hoodies, cups, mugs. And matter of fact, it's Mother's Day, and you need to get your mother a Stone Sailor mug.
My mom's dead.
I apologize.
That's fine.
Okay.
No,
How about your father?
He's gone too. I'm an old man.
How about
bro.
your girlfriend?
She's a recovering drug addict.
Well, coffee cup. She drinks coffee. It's a coffee cup.
Talking about
I'm not giving her. Okay. Actually, wait a second. Cannabis is proven to help. They're using that to wean people off opioids.
I can get a coffee cup. She loves coffee.
Okay, but you need to look. She might want to look into that. Cannabis has been proven to help people wean off of opioids. That's another great thing about cannabis. So
yeah.
It really is. I mean, you should check into it, but get her a coffee mug. Don't be a cheapskate.
I can't get her a coffee mug now. She just walked in.
She's going to, when she sees the coffee mugs on my site, there she is. You're going to get a coffee mug from him. Okay. He's going to buy it off my site.
I thought he was trying to get me to get you,
you can get her cannabis too.
I can't get her.
No,
cannabis.
yes you can. Actually, well, I told you, they're using cannabis to wean people off opioids, and it's successful, very successful. Look into it if that's the thing. Just it's out there. The information's out there, and it's really a miracle. There's people that are weaning off opioids, alcohol, all kinds of stuff through cannabis.
Well, I'll put we'll put the link to your YouTube channel and and see if we can get some subscribers.
But there's something else I'm doing too, Matthew.
What's that?
I am now in the world of professional wrestling. I'm a manager.
Are you really?
Yes.
With who?
With Pro Wrestling 2.0 right now.
What's his name? Johnny Walker. Do you know Johnny Walker?
I know the drink Johnny Walker
No,
very well.
No, listen, we had a guy on here who.
Oh, him. Yes, I saw him. I liked him. I love that. Yeah. Yeah.
You know what bothers me? I think that was one of the best interviews I ever did. Didn't do well because people want to hear about prison stories.
Yeah.
And
I liked him. Put me in touch with him.
Yeah, I was gonna say. We've been to his.
Put me in touch with him.
Thing. He's great.
Yeah, I love when he was on the show. Yeah, I loved it. Yeah,
you gotta go though. I mean, it's it is what it is. It's hilarious though. He's like they got he focuses more on the story.
Yeah, the storyline.
Characters.
Yeah, the backstory. Yeah, that's what I like. The original wrestling, the original stuff that we grew up watching in the 80s, not this stuff here.
Yeah,
that
we
showing.
Go into the whole thing. It's great.
Yeah, and they saw some videos because I'm a character and I cut videos and promos and stuff. And one of the guys is like, "You'd be a natural to come do this. Let me train you."
Yeah, well, you're a big guy too.
So I went down. Yeah, but I'm not going out there wrestling and I'm a manager. No. I'm the guy that cheats and insults the crowd and gets you to hate me. And anytime the referee's not looking, I beat up your guy and I hit him with a cane or I strangle him or hit him and stuff like that.
Yeah, you should talk to him.
I'm a bad guy.
I'll put you in touch with Heather. Heather's his.
Definitely.
Heather's his. What is she? Is she his manager? Not manager. She's his. Does the promotions and stuff.
Whatever, the booker or whatever they call it. Booker, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Make sure he gets you a cup. Don't let him get off like that. Easy. Go ahead. And a shirt, too. You need to get a shirt like this, see? Okay. You need to get one, too. Don't be a cheapskate, Matt.
All right, so...
But that's what I'm doing now. They're training me to do that, and I'm doing that and doing a bunch of things. I I said to myself, I didn't learn to walk again, to walk on eggshells around anybody else ever again. And I got a bucket list. I've been all over the world, but there's some things I still want to do. And I've always been a huge fan of pro wrestling. I thought I would eventually maybe be a wrestler one day when I was a kid, but it's a different, things happen. But this is a cool way, and they saw a talent in me for it, so they're training me.
Yeah, they're. I was gonna say it's like they were the Marvel movies before they were Marvel movies. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, they were the good and evil, the characters, good versus evil. Yeah, exactly. The storyline.
Yeah, definitely. You'd love Johnny Walker.
Yeah, I would love to meet him. Yeah, I did see him. I didn't watch the whole show, but I saw a little bit of it.
So funny.
Yeah, I saw a little bit of it.
He's such a nut, and he's lived a life like
it's
ridiculous.
Yeah, please put me in contact with him. I would definitely like to meet that guy. Yeah, definitely.
I thought it was a great.
What's his name? Johnny Walker?
Yeah. What? That's his stage.
Oh, that's his name.
What? Jeff Crean, I think. Oh yeah, Jeff Crean. Yeah.
All right, Jeff. I'm gonna get in contact with you. I want you to train me. You understand?
I can't think of his name. Johnny Walker. That's just him.
That's his. That's his wrestling name. It's his wrestling. I'm the Stone Sailor. But I'm the manager.
I'll definitely get you in touch with him. And,
definitely.
So yeah, definitely. So what's the name of the channel, the YouTube channel?
The Stone Sailor.
Stone Sailor.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm on Instagram, Rob Farlow, the Stone Sailor. YouTube, the Stone Sailor. Mob Swag is my merchandise page. I'm up. She's laughing. Mob Swag. They got a bunch of guys, that came up with this company, and this is I trademarked this. It's mine, and they do all the shipping and all the logistics of it. And we split the money. So
yeah, I gotta call him back. Do the same.
I'm not talented like you. I can't paint paintings like this and all that stuff. I don't have talent like that.
The problem with designing, you have to really know how to design a logo. Everybody thinks it's so easy.
You think you could paint that?
Yeah, of course. Paint anything.
Well, my birthday's in November, Matt. Hint.
Thanks for being here.
Definitely. Thank you for having me.
All right, so if you like the video, do me a favor and hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell so you get notifications of other videos like this. Leave me a comment in the comment section. I try and respond to all the comments, although I don't get to all of them. And share the video with as many friends and family as you can possibly think of. And I appreciate it. And see ya.